Hello and welcome back to Tea with the Curator. My name's Sophie and I'm one of the curators at the River and Rowing Museum, and today we're going to look at The Wind and the Willows, Kenneth Grahame's magical story about the adventures of riverbank creatures. If you've been to the museum before, I'm sure you'll know that we have a gallery dedicated to The Wind and the Willows, where you can immerse yourself in the story. And if you've not been before, I'd really encourage you to visit when we reopen. We also have a collection of material relating to Kenneth Grahame and his story, including this first edition copy of The Wind and the Willows, published in 1908, and featuring a beautiful frontispiece illustration by the artist Graham Robertson. But it's not this edition of the book that I want to focus on today, but Kenneth Grahame's own life and the inspirations that led to the story itself. He actually had a very difficult life, with more than his fair share of family tragedies and disappointments, but through it all he kept on returning to the River Thames as a source of solace and escape. His mother unfortunately died when he was just 5 years old, and he and his siblings were sent all the way down from Scotland, where his father couldn't cope, to live with their grandmother in Cookham, just 10 miles away from Henley on Thames. And it was here, of course, that he first discovered the idyllic riverbank setting that became so important to him throughout his life, and of course, the cast of riverbank characters that inhabit it. In adulthood, he reluctantly took up a career in banking, but by 1882 he was writing, and in 1895 he published his novel The Golden Age. This was hugely popular and considered a classic in its own time, although it's largely forgotten today, and many famous people at the time gave their support, Theodore Roosevelt included, who went on soon after to become President of the United States of America. And I really encourage you to read this alongside The Wind and the Willows, because it really evocatively captures Kenneth Grahame's skill for conveying the freedom and magic of childhood, which I think we all need a little bit of right now. Kenneth Grahame married in 1899, and the couple had their son, Alistair, known as Mouse, and this is in 1900. But it was in 1904, reading bedtime stories to 4-year-old Mouse, that Kenneth Grahame started to actually come up with the idea of the characters that we know and love today. In 1906, Kenneth Grahame was able to move his family back to his beloved Cookham and the rural Thames environment that he so missed. And the following year, by Christmas time, he'd finished writing The Wind and the Willows. It clearly was a productive setting for him. So despite all of his troubled life and the difficulties he went through, he kept on finding solace and escape at the banks of the River Thames. And this is something we can still do today. If you're lucky enough to live near the river, the Thames path is very much still open, and it's a great way to escape into nature during your daily exercise from home. If not, all is not lost. You can of course pick up a copy of The Wind and the Willows and find mental escape through Kenneth Grahame's magical words to take you back to the riverbanks of the River Thames.